disturbing new trend, relatively new trend coming certainly out of Moldova is the trafficking of organs. People going in and for minor surgical procedures and come out of the anesthesia, missing a kidney. Some people don't even know they're being operated on. They go in for a job interview and they're given something to drink and they come to having had an operation. And these operations aren't done in any kind of sterile conditions. So the victims are left quite often with tremendous physical liabilities to overcome. There's also growing trafficking of fetal tissue. Certainly from Eastern Europe now, there's a big trend in gynecological care. The doctors will tell a woman that her baby is not healthy, that she should abort it to avoid problems. The baby's aborted, and the fetal tissue is sold to cosmetic companies. And in 2008, when I was working in Ukraine, there was a woman who was stopped at the Ukrainian-Russian border, and she was trying to smuggle 40 human fetuses into Russia to sell to a cosmetic company. And then, of course, babies for adoption. Many of you already know about the demand for Eastern European or white babies. So there's lots of different types of trafficking, and most of the rescue industry that I'm going to talk about are people who are working to rescue women and men, adults who have been trapped largely into sexual exploitation, but as well labor exploitation as well. And again, I wanted to look at the rescue industry because these are the people with boots on the ground, if you will. They're the ones in the trenches. They're the ones who get the calls, the desperate calls in the middle of the night. They're the ones that go to the airport to pick up the 9-month-old baby who's been rescued from a brothel. They're the ones that help these women and men kind of pick up the detritus of their shattered lives and try to put them back together in some kind of way that might make sense after having gone through this experience. And I find these people to be extremely courageous and very, very much worthy of our attention and our respect. And for those of you who are employed, our donation dollars. All of the organizations, almost all of the organizations that I've worked with have public information, outreach programs. All of the countries have national hotline numbers. Some of the larger organizations that I was working with was Lustrada, the IOM, the International Organization for Migration. I'll talk about those a little bit more. But there has been in recent years, certainly in Eastern Europe, a tremendous push through non-governmental organizations as well as governmental organizations to educate the public and especially to educate vulnerable populations. And so there are these posters that you see here in every bus station, every train station, every airport. It's everywhere. The information is everywhere. And so you ask, well, how do these women get trapped by it? How could they not know it? Well, again, in case after case, once these educational campaigns have been launched, a number of the women were trapped in it before the educational campaigns were launched. But the traffickers are very savvy. For example, in Moldova, they have now set up legal and licensed study abroad programs, legal and licensed work abroad programs, legal and licensed travel agencies, and probably 70 to 75% of the women who go through these agencies actually get to their destinations, actually go to university, actually get a job. And then there's the 25 to 30% who end up trafficked. Right, so it's not like every case is a case of trafficking. And so many of the women that I talked to said they didn't think that it would happen to them, and they all said, I have to feed my babies. What do you want me to do? I have to feed my babies.